field on the campus of the University of Oklahoma, where over 4 inches of rain fell last night into this morning, but the grounds crew worked diligently to get everything ready in the stadium. The field looks good, and we are ready to go in this winner's bracket game between Oklahoma and Wisconsin. The 2019 NCAA Softball Regionals presented by Capital One. As we check the Norman Regional bracket, this is indeed a winner's bracket game. Our second game today, either UMBC or Notre Dame will go home. That's an elimination game in this double elimination format. Welcome to Norman. Pam Ward, along with three-time University of Arizona All-American Jenny Dalton-Hill. And yes, Wisconsin is in this game, even though in a lot of respects they got outplayed yesterday by Notre Dame.
Notre Dame out-hit them 11-4, but tough defense was able to keep them in that one and get the win to get them here.
Yeah, their defense certainly was stellar all the way through that game.
And it was the big play by Taylor Johnson at the plate. The hit up the middle, Allie Miklish in center with the do-or-die. Taylor Johnson applies the perfect tag, and the 1-0 lead is sustained. To the top of the 7th, Taylor Johnson again patted the lead with this 3-run home run. Wisconsin held on to win it 4-2.
Notre Dame kept the bases loaded in the bottom of the 7th. You talk about big bats, Oklahoma had a ton of them.
They scored in every single inning. The long ball was on display. Grace Lyons, the 2-run home run in the second inning for her 7th home run of the year. Grace Lyons was the first one. Callie Clifton, the line drive shot, her 15th home run of the year. But perhaps the most impressive hit of the night, Nicole Mendez, the big bomb. Oklahoma, the 12-0 win.
It was only 5 innings, and it was a combined perfect game between these 3 pitchers. 12 of the 15 retrievers they faced went down via the strikeout. Oklahoma has won 40 straight games. Patty Gasso's team getting ready to take on Wisconsin. First pitch right around the corner from Norman. Welcome back to Norman, Oklahoma. Gray skies, but it appears the rain is out of the way. Oklahoma, the #1 overall seed, winners of 40 in a row, getting ready to take on Wisconsin in this winner's bracket game. And Oklahoma will bat first, and they will face Haley Hestekin.
Hestekin has a ton of strikeouts on the year, 113, and it's because she changes planes that makes it hard for hitters.
One of the Wisconsin natives on this ball club, an at-large bid out of the Big Ten this year. This is the 3rd straight season that Wisconsin has gotten to the NCAA tournament, and here's what you have on Hestekin.
She's a pitcher that changes planes, and when a hitter faces a pitcher like that, you've got to pick a zone to hit in. She does throw a lot of drop balls, but it's that changeup that's not entirely reliable, so hitters do not have to look for that in each at-bat. Defense behind Hestekin is going to be the key.
Time now for tonight's starting lineups, presented by Capital One. And Oklahoma, the most formidable offense in the country, leading the nation with a .367 aggregate average. And with the 3 home runs yesterday, now 100 home runs hit by the Sooners on the season. Sydney Romero gets them going, the Big 12 Player of the Year. And when she steps up to the plate, she will set a new Oklahoma record for the most career at-bats.
Romero's so impressive at the top of the lineup, that average sitting above 400, tons of barrel control, and we saw her drag bunt to get on to start the game yesterday.
Right now she is tied with Norelle Dixon, who played here from 2004 to 2007. And we are underway in Norman. Oklahoma yesterday with the 12-0 combined perfect game win over UMBC. It was the first perfect game ever pitched by Oklahoma in the NCAAs. And Romero gets it going with a solid single to lead things off.
Not trying to do too much, just seeing a ball in the zone and driving right through it. It does get in on her hands a little bit, but she's so strong. She muscles this one in the 5-6 hole and starts Oklahoma off with a base hit.
Romero now with a 6-game hitting streak and is in the books officially as the Sooner with the most career at-bats. Folly of you, the #2 hitter for the Sooners. He was 2 for 3 yesterday as Oklahoma pounded out 11 hits in just 4 at-bats in that win over UMBC. UMBC playing Notre Dame in our second of 3 games here this afternoon. Romero had got a stolen base yesterday. And we were very fortunate here to get all the rain out of the way. 63 degrees and clearing skies. Winds not as gusty as they were last night. We had over 11 centimeters of rain here in Norman.
It was the thunder that woke me up this morning. That was an absolutely impressive storm that moved through, and to have this field ready to go, an impressive job by the field crew.
The view gets the bunt down. Hestekin fielded it nicely, but Romero advances on to second. Let's take a look at this defense, starting with the outfield, and it was a terrific play by Ali Miklish to throw out a would-be run across the plate last night. And you take a look at the infield. Lauren Foster at shortstop is someone that has caught my partner's eye.
She's just done a great job of fielding her position, has great range, and her arm across the diamond is it's fun to watch.
Wisconsin leads the nation in double plays this season. Kaylee Clifton had one of the 3 two-run homers for Oklahoma last night.
And that home run by Kaylee Clifton, I don't know that it got above 30 feet off the ground. That was a line drive that cleared the fence. Such an impressive swing. So balanced in her lower half. Just stays on plane, drives right through. That's the kind of swing that I love to see. Not trying to lift. That launch angle is the buzzword these days, but Kaylee Clifton staying right on plane with that one, driving it.
And she drove it right over the picture of Kaylani Ricketts over there, and the wall is that mural is part of the celebration of the 2013 National Championship team, one of 4 National Championship clubs. There's Ricketts on the far right, and she is a volunteer assistant for Oklahoma this year. Hestekin ahead of Clifton 0-2.
Well, it leaves no doubt why Oklahoma is such a good hitting team. When you get to face Kaylani Ricketts, that kind of pitching just for batting practice every day, she can humble you with the pitches, but you can also step in and gain a lot of confidence against somebody so potent for Oklahoma.
And we saw her a couple of days ago throwing batting practice, and it was impressive, to say the least. 1-2 pitch with Romero on second, and that is a fair ball. Romero sticks at third as Clifton's chopper dusted up some chalk just short of third base.
And that's a tough call to make behind the plate. He is responsible for the fair foul call. So it hits the chalk before the bag, and then he has to read whether that ball carries over the bag or if it veers outside the line. I appreciate that at third base, Jordan Little did not want to touch it in fair territory. However, it does eat her up and puts Oklahoma in a great position with just 60 feet between them and home.
Keith Kearney behind the plate this afternoon. We do have that 4-man umpiring crew, 4-person umpiring crew. And the ever-dangerous Jocelyn Allo steps in. And Jocelyn Allo, in her last 12 games, she's gotten a hit in every game and is hitting .559 with 7 home runs.
In the beginning of the year, really struggled. The first 36 games, those 7 home runs, and then hit a lull. And so for Allo to be able to step it up here at this time of the year, it shows that she's really settled in.
That one is off the fist. Good job by the left fielder, Gabby Shirley, to close and retire Allo. And one of the heroes of our day is Scott Black, who is the longtime groundskeeper here at Oklahoma. And seriously, what you were saying, being awakened by the thunder this morning, I didn't think there was any chance that we would play, certainly, I won't say it, any chance that we would play on time today. And we did, and you have to give a lot of credit to Scott Black and his grounds crew.
I mean, he's the hero of the day. To be able to come out here and have this field looking so pristine, kudos to him.
So now 2 away for Grace Green. One of the 2 freshman Graces in Patty Gasso's everyday lineup, along with Grace Lyons, who is the shortstop. And she was the Big 12 Freshman of the Year as Oklahoma swept all of the major awards this year as they ran the table for the 2nd straight season in the Big 12.
For Grace Green to step in at this point with Shane Knighton struggling defensively because of those knees that have been giving her problems, she's come in with a potent punch.
Clifton took off. The ball sails into center field on the delayed steal. Romero is able to score.
So as Clifton takes off from first to second, her job is to get out. but she recognizes that that catch was going to be made. She's got to make sure that that third out of the inning is not made before the run crosses home plate. That's why you see the stop and hesitation. Oklahoma willing to trade an out for a run, but it works out in their favor.
So Clifton credited with the stolen base. She is now 6 for 6 on the year. Romero scored on the throwing error to the catcher Taylor Johnson. Patty Gasso not afraid to get her runners in motion, put some pressure on defenses. 1-2 pitch to Green. Goes after a rise ball, doesn't catch up, but Oklahoma strikes first. They lead at 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the first in Norman.
The NCAA Softball Regionals is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
And we do indeed welcome you back. Wisconsin down 1-0 as they come to bat, taking on the #1 team in the country that has won 40 straight games. And for the second straight game, G. Juarez, who is 22-0 on the season, gets the start.
She only had to throw 34 pitches in the 3 innings that she threw yesterday against UMBC, so she's still fresh. She's a seasoned strikeout pitcher, and you have to stay off her rise ball. So if you can show discipline, she will have to move the ball down in the zone. The changeup and the off-speed can be difficult to read, so you've got to make sure you attack early in a count so she can't mess with you.
My apologies, I shorted her one. She is 23-0. Here's this afternoon's starting lineups presented by Capital One. For Wisconsin, hitting .287 as a team, Kayla Conwent, the Big Ten Player of the Year, got off to a very slow start yesterday. She was 0 for 4 at the plate. Wisconsin got out hit 11-4 by Notre Dame, and Conwent is someone who has been out the last 2 years, only played about a dozen games as a freshman, then went out with injuries, did not play at all last year. And you thought maybe she was a little tight, maybe pressing a little bit in her first NCAA game?
These are the biggest games of her career. She has been on campus for the past 2 seasons, so while you think of her as a junior, this is just her freshman campaign because of those injuries that were sustained and then the complications in year number 2. She's coming into this series very fresh.
And the key to this team, and you see the brace on her elbow, but it actually is not an elbow brace.
No, that is a small child's leg brace, and so they modify it, make sure that they have that elbow a little bit more supported because those were where the complications happened after the shoulder surgery.
Warriors ahead 1-2. Keith Carney calls timeout behind the plate. It was indeed originally a right labrum injury in fall ball in her very first year on campus. Conwent, academically a junior, but it's her first year playing. And she just wails at that. Elam throws down to complete the strikeout.
G. Juarez, so hard to hit against, especially when you are facing her in the circle. I mean, the ball drops off the table. So Conwent, she's got to stay in those legs a little bit better. She is a fabulous hitter, but right now just swinging out of the zone. G. Juarez doing a good job of baiting her.
Taylor Johnson had the huge 3-run homer in the top of the 7th to give Wisconsin a cushion against Notre Dame yesterday. Runs they ended up needing after Notre Dame scored a couple of runs in the bottom of the 7th. They ultimately lost 4-2, did Notre Dame. Johnson also looking good behind the plate for them.
Able to come up with that timely tag to keep the lead intact.
Clifton, 2 away. Let's take a look at the Oklahoma defense, which is, statistically speaking, the best in the country. Aviu Mendez-Alo from left to right, and the very, very steady infield. Clifton has been a rock over there at second. And Shea Knighton, who you mentioned earlier, sometimes DPs, but today she's in at first.
And she is able to communicate that with Patty Gasso before the game, letting her know how she's feeling, what she's going to be able to do. And so far, it sounds like she's doing well and wants to play defense.
She has had trouble with both of her knees, chronic knee pain. And she has been one of the mainstays in this lineup now for 4 years. Oklahoma also with a relatively new catcher in Lindsey Elam, who played sparingly as a freshman, but is the #1 receiver this season. Lauren Foster moved up in the lineup to number 3 slot today, the talented shortstop.
She understands the game a little bit differently, has a father involved in baseball, grew up playing the game, and just communicates the game in a different way with her coach, Yvette Healy.
Yvette Healy, her 9th year at Wisconsin, taking them to an unprecedented 3rd straight NCAA tournament. And one of the more positive coaches, certainly, that I've ever seen.
Well, and still the all-time stolen base leader from DePaul,
where she graduated in 1999.
Being able to play for a coach that has played the game at a high level and also performed at a high level, it's great to be able to see her in the coaching ranks to lead these young women.
G. Juarez with a couple of strikeouts in the first inning. Juarez now in her last 28 innings has only given up 1 run.
It's the changeup that makes the difference. G. Juarez with her 2nd strikeout of the inning.
She knows exactly what she's up there looking for.
She gets a hold of one.
You have to be very careful with your pitches.
Nichols in the left.
One of the most consistent hitters.
Romero trying to get something done with 2 outs, and she does.
This is the difference that Oklahoma needed.
Not many hitters in the country that hit a ball like Kayla Conwin. You rarely see her miss.
And yes, we have 2 of those 4 hitters in that package in this game. And one of them is Sydney Romero at .425. But how about that, Jenny? 4 Sooners in the starting lineup hitting over .400.
So dominant. I mean, and it's in average, it's in power, all of them with double-digit home runs. So not only are they consistent in their production, but the power that they put behind their swings, absolutely dynamic.
And something different in the NCAA tournament where teams will swap between home and away. That means Oklahoma is not in their familiar third base dugout, but on the first base side.
And everything feels weird when you enter that visitor's dugout. Nothing feels comfortable, but you got to bust out of it knowing that you'll be back in the other dugout with a win.
Patty Gasso's done a lot of winning now in her 25th year, taking them to the NCAA tournament each and every season. 12 appearances, 4 titles north of here in Oklahoma City. Shay Knighton, the senior from Buena Park, California, leading things off here in the second. Second team all Big 12 performer this year. Oklahoma scored an unearned run in the first inning to take this 1-0 lead.
Shay Knighton, to me, is just one of those most consistent hitters in this lineup. Her average may not dazzle you like those big .400 hitters, but she sits even at .350 every single season. And now a senior trying to back up those numbers, doing it again, hitting over .350. Shay Knighton, you call her Big Play Shay, right, Pam?
Absolutely, especially the big play when she hit a 3-run home run in the 17th inning against Kelly Barnhill back in the World Series a couple of years ago. Just has a penchant for hitting in clutch situations.
And you wonder how much have those knees that are giving her so much problem, how much do they really affect every game? Patty Gasso says she plays in pain every day, but she knows that that veteran mentality that she brings to the lineup and to the defense, it just absolutely changes things for Oklahoma. And now a senior wanting to go out the right way.
Oklahoma did not go out the right way last year. They had another great regular season, but fizzled in the World Series where they lost their first game. And that has resonated all year with this club, particularly with the seniors, who won 2 national championships when they were freshmen and sophomores.
And I can identify with them. The same thing happened to me. I won a national championship my freshman year and sophomore year, did not come away with it my junior year. There was nothing that was going to stop me my senior year. Everyone was going to jump on my back and we were going to go win another national title. And that's what these 5 seniors are trying to do.
And what happened with you in your senior year?
We won it. We shouldn't have. We played Washington, which is the team that Oklahoma lost to last year in the World Series. It was a tough-fought battle. Not a pretty game to finish the national championship. But when you walk off the field as a senior, as a national champion, it changes the rest of your future.
2-2 pitch now to Knighton. Wisconsin fans wanted the strike call, but did not get it as the count goes full.
And this one does look to nip a corner. But Early in the game, you're still trying to identify where the strike zone is, and Shea Knighton ends up on the right side of that one.
8th pitch of the at-bat on the way from Hestican. And that one did miss outside. Oklahoma has gotten a leadoff runner on now in both innings. Nicole Mendez got into the home run party yesterday, and it was not a cheap one.
She got all of it. And when you talk about a blast, that is the epitome of a blast. Hit it over the stands, out in right field, cleared both fences, jogged that one in. It was a huge hit for Mendez.
Nicole Mendez with a nice bounce back year. She was the freshman of the year a couple years ago in the league, where she hit .408. Just .309 last year, but that has been elevated. Tries to get the bunt down, and Knighton is thrown out by Johnson.
All that done on a foul ball.
Yeah, appeared to be a foul ball. And now we'll take a look at it. That's foul.
So the plate is in play. The tip of the back of the plate is the beginning of those foul lines, but the ball does squeak behind it. Because of that, you got Mendez coming back up, and Knighton slid in really hard to second base. You wonder how much that hurts those knees, and if that really will prevent some longevity in this game for her.
Yeah, Johnson clearly picked it up in the batter's box. So Knighton back at first. Mendez gets a look at another pitch. Socks that one into left field, but it's playable for Shirley for the first out.
Off the bat, I thought that one had the potential to get out, but the air is really heavy with so much rain in the area. Ball didn't travel like we expected.
Shea Knighton over at first. That's Kelsey Arnold next to her, who had been the 4-year shortstop for Oklahoma. Graduated last year and now is one of the undergraduate assistants. Had a spectacular career, one of Patty Gasso's all-time favorite players. And those players who just plays hard, plays the right way each and every day, comes to work. Lindsey Elam, the catcher, now trying to move Knighton along.
Elam was not going to be the starter in the fall. She had a rough fall, did not really produce the way that Patty Gasso was hoping. Kinsey Kelso came in to try to see if she could be the starter.
There's the sac bunt. Knighton now down at second. And yeah, bringing in Kelso sort of lit a fire under Elam.
It did. And Kelso had to graduate high school a semester early to get to campus. Because of that move, Elam really amplified her game, was able to earn a starting spot.
Did her job by getting the bunt down. Now in the number 9 hitter, Grace Lyons, one of the freshmen who start. And she's the one who took over for Kelsey Arnold at short, and she also had a nice hit yesterday.
Just a freshman, but is not playing like it. She's putting balls out of the park. She's playing defense like a pro, and Oklahoma really benefiting from the addition of the young freshman.
Takes a strike from Hestican. Lyons, a freshman from Peoria, Arizona. The 5th time that Hestican has had an 0-2 count on these Oklahoma hitters. She has 1 strikeout. One-two pitch. Lyons fists it foul to hang in there. Oklahoma reaching the 50-win plateau last night, 40 straight, which extends their NCAA single-season record for consecutive victories. And now off 7 from the all-time winning streak. 1-2 pitch again.
Hestican so far in the circle, just a sophomore, but right now doing a great job of just trying to nip corners. So far, that outside pitch not coming up as a strike, but I love that she has just a rise, a drop, and a change, but she's using those pitches, trying to nip corners and not leave them big.
Estikin off to a good start as far as getting ahead of hitters. 7 of the 9 hitters she has faced, she has thrown a first pitch strike.
Well, and that's what you got to do. You got to be dominant, leading things off. We've noticed that a lot of hitters have chosen to remove that mask from the front of their helmet, but right there comes in very handy to keep her in this game.
It's better than having a ball in the face, right?
And we saw it in practice the other day. We've seen it in a couple of games here in the regional.
7th pitch of the at-bat. The Lions will see at least 8.
That inside pitch seems to be where Lions is getting it consistently. Hestekin really painting that inside corner, doing a good job of keeping it over the plate, not letting it ride into the batter's box. But to hit that pitch, you've got to keep your hands inside, make sure you get your barrel out in front, drive that pitch right down the line.
Now the 9th pitch of the at-bat. Sent out into right field. Rudnicki grabs it in foul territory to end the inning. Knighton stranded at second. Oklahoma up 1 as we go to the bottom of the second. It's worth the wait for Wisconsin to get Kayla Conwent. After sitting out 2 years with an injury, she was the Big Ten Player of the Year this season.
Sat out the first 2 years of her career because of shoulder injuries, then complications, sat her for another one. Right now, it's Kayla Conwent who has become really the namesake and the player that you have to gun for in this regional. When she was named the Player of the Year, the first person she went to, Ashley Parr. That's who you see there on your right. The trainer that was able to get her back, get her healthy, and get onto the field again.
And Parr, the athletic trainer, and when we talked to Conwent the other day, she said that Ashley Parr is her hero and said that she helped her find out everything, like what she believed in. You spent a lot of time, you had an injury at Arizona where you had to spend time with your trainer, and it can really turn into a special relationship.
These days, you see the phone getting in the way of a lot of relationships because the youth of today keep their nose in their phone rather than making relationships with the people around them. When you sit in the training room and you're on all of those modalities, which are the things that you get hooked up to, there's not really anything you do, but you have to sit and let those things work, and it gives you opportunities to just be present. And so you and your trainer develop a strong relationship, and Conwent had 2 years to be able to sit, develop that. And Conwent's mother, Cheryl, says, you know, she's her mother in Madison.
Mrs. Lombardo leading things off. And Cheryl Conwent is here. Kayla says that Cheryl is her best friend, but that was a big concession for Cheryl to give up the momship. And there is Cheryl with the shades on. Says that Ashley Parr is her Madison mom. And Lombardo is the 3rd strikeout victim for G. Juarez.
Right now, Juarez leaving in the top of the zone and moving the ball through. That's a great curveball that just comes across the plate away from the lefty. It's hard to catch up to because as that ball comes in, you think it's going to be inside, so you have to get your barrel out in front. But as the curveball comes across the plate, you're just ahead.
And Gabby Shirley was penciled in as the number 5 hitter, but how about a pinch hitter coming in before Shirley even got an at-bat? It's Melanie Cross, the senior, who had been in the starting lineup. And she gets a chance to hit. Cross was the number 3 hitter yesterday and went 0 for 3.
There were so many defensive changes for Wisconsin yesterday. Cross was in and out, moved from left to right. But with her hands, she's got to get herself a hit to start off this regional.
And Shirley, who she is hitting for, only hitting 111 on the season. And there's also a pinch hitter on deck in Caroline Hedgecock, who usually is a starting right fielder, so the change is already starting for Yvette Healy. up in the air and out of play. Another sold-out crowd. Tickets sold out all year long, very early. And what did it take, 10 minutes to sell this whole regional out?
You're right. 10 minutes to sell out every ticket. It was standing room only at the game last night with Oklahoma. A rainy day today, and everybody's rears are still sitting in their seats, ready to watch.
That was a beauty pitch.
It's a curveball that starts out off the plate and then comes back over the plate. So it fools you. You think it's going to be a ball, and then it comes back last minute and nips the back of the plate. That's a tough pitch. It's one that you want to take, but with 2 strikes, you can't.
10 strikeouts already for G. Juarez, who got the win. Only went 3 innings yesterday, struck out 6, and only had to throw 34 pitches, so she is still quite fresh as she comes in to start today. And now Caroline Hedgecock, who has been the starting right fielder, did not start in right field today, comes in to hit for Heather Rudnicki, who started at right.
Hedgecock was at Arkansas a season ago, but has transitioned very well here to Wisconsin.
In her 2 years at Arkansas, Hedgecock was mostly a pitcher, saw her playing time diminish, and decided to transfer to Wisconsin. She played with Stephanie Lombardo and Kayla Conwent in travel ball, so already was familiar with those teammates, and she gets hit by a pitch.
One of the benefits of Hedgecock playing for Arkansas is that she's not fazed by these big moments, and this curveball just gets away from Juarez. Hedgecock not liking it. She gives a little stare out to the circle.
In fact, Hedgecock faced Oklahoma in both of her years at Arkansas. So Arkansas played the Sooners, actually played them last year during the playoffs. Courtney Deifel and Patty Gasso. Deifel used to work for Gasso, and they've kept up that relationship. So Arkansas gets to play the Sooners quite often. Kelly Welsh, the senior from Mishawaka, Indiana, right outside of South Bend. Got to play and beat Notre Dame yesterday, the alma mater for both of her parents.
G. Juarez is looking so good in the circle. It's tough for these Wisconsin hitters to catch up to the ball, as it looks to be good coming in, but the spin's so tight, moving it up through the zone and away from their bats.
I mean, just the pop in the glove of Elam is impressive. And that is Kelly's mom, Joanne Welsh, perhaps FaceTiming or whatever the kids do. Her husband is in Tucson, where they have another daughter who plays for Harvard. They're in the NCAA tournament. The View had to backtrack just a step or 2 to retire Welsh, and the side still 1-0 Sooners.
For the #1 team in offense in the nation, there has not been a lot of scoring in this one. It was a first and third play. Sydney Romero on third, a throw down to second on the steal by Kaylee Clifton, misplayed out there. That allowed the run to score, and that's the only run we have in this ballgame.
Let's take a look now at the Norman Region bracket, brought to you by Capital One. The combined perfect game for 3 OU pitchers yesterday puts them in this one. UMBC and Notre Dame will play in our second of 3 games today. The loser of that game goes home. The winner of that game will play the loser of this game. Regional final coming up tomorrow, and those pinch hitters we saw remain in the game for Wisconsin. Caroline Hedgecock back in right field. Melanie Cross now playing left. And that's going to change. I have a prediction that will not stay that way the rest of the game. Sydney Romero on a 6-game hitting streak after she singled to start off this game. Leads off third inning for the Sooners.
To be able to get all the way through the lineup, it's just the third inning, and now able back to the top of the lineup. Oklahoma showing that they've got so many different tools in their belt. Pam, this really could be the most complete Oklahoma team that we have seen in recent history.
Puts a little pop into that one, but Hedgecock, who just went out to right field, grabs it. How do you top a fantastic year one of the St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational presented by Wilson? Well, you do it all again. It'll come your way February 13th, 2020. And now the teams, we've had more released. We knew about the SEC teams, but the release of the other teams today, Texas Tech, South Florida, Oklahoma State, Liberty, and Kansas all joining the party. And that will come your way. stpeteclearwaterinvite.com has all the information you need for really a fantastic tournament in February.
Has a postseason feel to start off the season on ESPN.
And as the tournament goes on this year, we will add more teams until the 16-team field is complete. Volley of you had a sacrifice bunt that put Sydney Romero at second, her first time up. First team all Big 12. One of 6 first-teamers for Oklahoma, which ties a program record. Sends that one foul off Hestekin.
One of the qualities of Volley of You's swing that you noticed yesterday, Pam, was that very defined split grip. So while you see that a lot of times in slappers, Volley of You can slap, but she's got a lot of power too. 7 home runs on the year, but has increased her average. Look at that jump. For her to be able to increase that barrel control and find holes, of You in the 2 spot has been very effective for Oklahoma.
Well over 100 points better than last year, and it seems to me it's become more pronounced as her career has gone on. And JT Gasso, in his 4th year as an assistant, is kind of the hitting guru on this team.
I think Patty Gasso would beg to differ that she's probably the hitting guru and he just does what she asks.
He's just channeling his inner Patty.
That's right. But JT has such a smart mind, and I think it operates in a little different way than that of the head coach that is his mom. And because it operates in a different way, maybe a little bit more statistically driven, it gives him the opportunity to see things in a different light and really help these hitters.
They made great adjustments yesterday against UMBC after a relatively slow start, and then they really poured it on. And Patty Gasso, when we spoke to her earlier this year, said JT is a nerd, and meant that in a very positive way, because you mentioned there's so much technology, there's so many numbers available, and he really gets into that stuff.
He grasps what the information is telling him and is able to communicate that to the athlete in a way that they understand.
Of You, another ball sent out of play. Oklahoma's hit a lot of foul balls so far. It looks like the sun is starting to peek through.
Let's not jinx it.
After a lot of rain, again, over 4 inches of rain falling, and we weren't delayed even a single second. It's very fortunate here in Norman. There are delays up in Stillwater, which is north of here.
But with 4 inches of rain, and we started right on time. Kudos to this field crew to keep us right on time.
Especially when you have 3 games on the docket.
Today is perhaps the biggest day of the postseason, knowing that you've got half the field heading home today due to losses, but also the others trying to advance to tomorrow that will project and propel them into a super regional.
Here's the 9th pitch, 2 of You. Now, what does this tell us when they continue to foul off pitch after pitch?
Well, it either tells you that Hestekin is moving the ball through the zone, so it's moving, and so the plane that the swing is on as it's entering the zone is changing, and so it's just veering off the bat, or the hitter is pulling their eyes and looking at result prior to completing the swing. And so right now, I think Hestekin just needs to be praised for the movement that she's got through the zone.
Very patient at bat for Review, takes ball 4 up and in.
And talk about a quality at bat. This is a big one, to be able to lay off the rise ball after such a long at bat, able to stay away from it. So while a lot of hitters will stand in and take that pitch, knowing that you've got 3 balls, you do not need to wear that one to head down to first base.
That is the 2nd walk surrendered by Hestekin. Now Kaylee Clifton, who singled in the 1st inning and then stole a base, she's now reached base in 33 straight games.
I don't even know what to say to that. That's an amazing stat.
We even had to double check it with our statistician because that sounded weird, right? That's amazing.
Well, and then you look back to what their win streak is, sitting at 39. Or are we at 40? After last night's win, we sit at 40 consecutive wins for this team. Only 7 of those, the first 7 she has not reached on. And then Kaylee Clifton, 62 runs scored all by herself. The opponent, 59. So when you think about Kaylee Clifton, if you put her against the rest of the field, she still wins.
Yep. It really has been a remarkable season for Oklahoma. Their team earned run average 1.13. They're averaging over 8 runs a game and are giving up 1 run a game on average.
This team is so complete. They lead in offensive categories, they lead in fielding percentage, and the lowest ERA in the country. How does this team not win the national championship?
Because they have to play the game.
And the game doesn't know.
Yep.
That's why you play, right?
Yep.
Plus, you add in field conditions. On a day like today with a wet outfield, a ball to the outfield can be misplayed by either team because of the wet conditions. A slip, a wet ball trying to be thrown back in, those weather conditions really play into the end of a game.
2-1 pitch now to Clifton with a view on first. Hits that one to the shortstop, Foster, who's really good in Wisconsin and leads the nation in double plays. Just missed another one.
They can't believe it either. Double plays have been a point of emphasis for this Wisconsin team. The coach makes them go through a drill called triple threat every day at practice. The emphasis, turning the double play. They lead the nation in it. Kayla Conwent receiving that ball a little bit deep. If she could extend and catch that ball a little bit out in front, I think that could have been a double play.
And you see the 31 double plays, but they almost got one yesterday against Notre Dame, and another bang-bang play that ended in a safe call. Jocelyn Allo flew out in her first at bat. But we mentioned that she has been on a tear in her last dozen games. She was pressing a bit after the 30 home runs last year, which tied the single-season record set twice by Lauren Chamberlain, a former Sooner. Bangs that one on the ground. Allo is thrown out to end the inning. Jocelyn is 0 for 2, and it's only 1-0 Sooners. Welcome back to the NCAA Softball Regionals presented by Capital One. On a cloudy but clearing day in Norman, the #1 overall seed Sooners just with a 1-0 lead over Wisconsin in this winner's bracket game. On day 2, some regional storylines. Oklahoma's 3 pitchers combined for a perfect game. 23rd in postseason history, but the first ever for Oklahoma. Taylor Johnson with a big 3-run home run led the Badgers to a win over Notre Dame, even though they were out-hit 11-4. And Notre Dame still looking for its elusive first Super Regional.
Notre Dame in their 21st consecutive postseason appearance, but still unable to extend and get to that first Super Regional.
And they will play UMBC right after this game is completed, well, 30 minutes after. And the loser of that game will go home. The winner will play the loser of this game in our 3rd game of our triple header today. So Wisconsin, the home team in this game, batting in the bottom of the 3rd. G. Juarez, who pitched 3 of the 5 innings in the perfect game yesterday, getting the start today, and she has yet to give up a hit. She has been lights out in her last 5+ games. Facing the bottom of the order in Jordan Little. First time we've seen her today. Jordan was 0 for 2 yesterday in that win over Notre Dame. Takes a strike. And that's Mariah Lopez over in the Oklahoma bullpen, along with Brooke Vestal, number 63, a freshman. Lopez was the second of 3 pitchers that got in yesterday, and she pitched 1 inning and struck out the side.
Well, Mariah Lopez has been one of those pitchers that has really ridden under the radar for a lot of people across the country, but she is an ace in every staff. She comes in and was throwing behind the Parkers for the past 2 years, and now behind G. Juarez. But I don't think that's a bad thing. For her to be able to step in, usually has a lead. G. Juarez and Mariah Lopez have combined for so many wins. Between the two of them, just one loss. G has not lost. She's 23-0. Mariah Lopez 17-1 on the season. 232 plus innings between the two of them.
Now remember, they've only lost twice all year, Lopez and Sale taking the losses, but those numbers are eye-opening.
And their ERA as a staff, it's ridiculous. To be able to be that low, for them to step in so dominant in the circle, backed up by defense with the lowest fielding percentage in the country.
Full count pitch, gets a little looking for her 5th strikeout. Molly McGrath, what do you have?
Nova Energy, Wisconsin, center fielder Allie McClesh.
Thank you so much. North Carolina coming off an ACC finals loss to Florida State. Florida State looking good. They put the hurting on South Florida today to get into their regional final tomorrow.
But North Carolina, a very impressive showing against Florida State in that ACC championship final, trying to get to that first super regional.
Allie McClesh, freshman from Stevens Point, Wisconsin, came to Wisconsin softball camps when she was growing up, and boy, she had a huge play yesterday in the field.
Well, the throw was just on point. It had to be followed up by a tag by Taylor Johnson at the plate. They combined for a great one, and that's what gave them the ability to stay ahead in that game.
With the win over Notre Dame to get into this matchup. And here's what Allie did.
Check out this throw. It's a do or die. An outfielder practices this in every single practice. Beautiful spot. A little bit off the mark, but a great tag by Johnson got the out.
Skyward towards Clifton for the second out. And back to the top of the order, and Kayla Conwent still looking for her first hit. She is 0 for 5 in this regional.
Batting top of the order, first baseman Kayla Conwent.
Conwent's just one of those players that you want to have do really well. I mean, has been waiting so long for this moment.
Came into this regional second in the nation in batting average. Courtney Cashman at UMass Lowell at over 500. She's a slap hitter. Conwent, though, leading her team in average, home run, and runs driven in. Her 16-game on-base streak ended last night with the collar. We had a chance to visit with her a couple of days ago. Very engaging. I can call her kid. She's just a nice Wisconsin kid. Very excited to finally get a chance to play after sitting out 2 years. That was a big swing and a miss.
But she seems to be settling in. G. Juarez is just so hard to attack because she changes speeds. This one a little bit slower, down in the zone. Hard to read, and because that ball spins so quickly, it fools the eye that it's going to stay where it's at, but it just falls right off the table.
1-2 pitch.
One of the things I'm noticing about Conwent's at bat is that she is staying in her legs a little bit better. And what that tells me is she's settling in. In that first game, she was out of her legs a lot, off balance, reaching for a lot of pitches out of the zone. And the same thing was true in her first at bat, but now staying in her legs a little bit better. That gives your eyes a chance to read the ball a little bit more true.
Juarez wins the battle. Another throwdown to complete strikeout number 6 for Juarez. When we come back, we will speak with Wisconsin head coach Yvette Healy. You are watching the NCAA Softball Regionals presented by Capital One. We are in Norman, Oklahoma. We're joined now by Wisconsin head coach Yvette Healy. This is the most potent offense in the country, coach, but so far just one run. Can you tell us what you're seeing from Haley Hestican in the circle?
You know, she's competing. She's doing what she's done all year, so we're really proud of her coming out strong, giving us a little boost out there.
And we're not used to seeing your team strike out like this. What is it that G. Juarez is doing, and what adjustments do you need to make against her to get some runs up on the board?
You know, when you face someone who hasn't lost a game all year, that's what it's going to look like. So, you know, we're just trying to build on our at-bats and get better and being the home team, you know, show up late. So we're not stressed by it. She's that good.
All right, Coach, thank you so much.
Thank you.
As usual, Yvette Healy keeping it upbeat, but you got to be happy. Seriously, it's only a one-run game, and they've only allowed 2 hits to Oklahoma.
Well, and that run came off of kind of a miscommunication in a first and third situation where they could have caught it, made the tag, and been out of the inning. So that miscommunication is the difference in this ballgame.
Haley Hestekin, the sophomore from Kaukauna, Wisconsin, was an all-freshman member of the Big Ten last year, second-team All-Big Ten. And she's a roommate of Kayla Conway, who is the first baseman and the slugger on this team. And they are good buddies, and so far Hestekin has kept the Sooners in check. As we go to the top of the 4th inning, middle of the Sooner lineup, Grace Green struck out swinging the first time she faced off against Hestekin.
Knowing that Hestekin has that rise and drop, it was the rise ball that Green fell prey to in that first at bat. It's in a situation like this, in a 2-0 count, knowing that I struck out my last time up, Hestekin not wanting to fall behind in this count anymore. This is the kind of swing I would be swinging out of my shoes on this pitch.
Instead, she takes it for ball 3. Shay Knighton on deck for the Sooners. Taking all the way. Hestekin gets the strike in. Shay Knighton on deck, getting the start again, this time at first base for Oklahoma. Drew a walk her first time up. And now from 3-0 to a full count.
One of the qualities of this Oklahoma offense is just consistency and calm in the box. You never see a sense of panic on these hitters. Now, granted, they haven't played from behind much this season. They've only lost 2 ball games, and those were early in the season.
Well, Green watches strike 3 go by. She has struck out twice now. Golden State leads the series 2-0, and tonight on ESPN and ESPN Deportes, Game 3 in Portland of the Western Conference Finals at 9 Eastern. Coverage starts an hour earlier with NBA Countdown. Both stream live on the ESPN app. Can anybody stop the Warriors?
Not me.
Probably wise not to try. Meanwhile, Milwaukee has a 2-0 lead over Toronto over in the East.
Maybe a question that begs the same kind of attention is who's going to stop the Sooners?
You mentioned the 2 losses for Oklahoma. They were both back in February. One of them to Florida State, the reigning national champions. The other to UCLA, the number 2 overall seed. Now, this is what Patty Gasso's team has done. And again, these are national rankings, not Big 12 rankings. They lead in all these. And so you see ERA, so that's pitching, fielding, defense, and then batting average offense. That's a lot of good stuff.
And one stat that they don't lead the country in is home runs, but they've got 100 on the year. So the power that they're able to generate throughout the lineup, just absolutely amazing.
Hit the century mark last night. That is the 3rd most home runs they have ever hit in a single season as a team.
4 players in double-digit home runs, all 4 of those players hitting over 400.
Knighton to the track and dropped by Cross. Knighton running hard out of the box, ends up on second.
So this one has the height, but not the distance. That stride by Knighton is a little bit out, so it leaves that inside pitch very vulnerable to a big swinging Knighton. That ball should have been caught. That's a tough break for cross out and left. And Hestekin knows that that barely avoided getting out of here. Shea Knighton has tough knees. She's not able to really motor around the bases. That could have been a triple in her earlier days, but because of those knee troubles, she's got she's got herself to second base, but it will be on an error.
That is really a tough break for Hestekin, who's pitched so well. The ball got to the glove of Cross, but she was unable to hang on to it. Melanie Cross out in left had been the primary catcher, but then she broke her hand. She also has a couple of fingers taped up on her right hand. Mendez gets the bunt down. That gets Knighton to third, and she is safe at first. Mendez beats it out. Runners on the corners for the Sooners.
And I've got to give props to Conwent on this one, because as the throw comes down the line, it is in the lane of the runner. Conwent has to reach around the runner to come away with that one. If that ball gets past Conwent, you're seeing runs on the board and everybody moving around the bases. Mendez so quick down the line.
So Kayla Conwent playing first base for Wisconsin, and something that we noticed when we were here watching them practice the other day, Conwent does not have like the typical first baseman's glove. It looks like a small, almost middle infielder's glove to me.
It looks like a 12-inch regular fielder's glove, and what you like to see is a little bit bigger glove on that first baseman. It doesn't do a whole lot, but it gives a little bit more reach, and she does receive the ball very deep at first base. I would love to see her reach out and extend to make some of those catches. I think they get a couple more double plays. They do lead the conference in double plays. But I think they've got a couple more up their sleeve that they could turn if they were able to just extend a little bit more. So that glove a little small for a first baseman.
Conwent, the Big Ten Player of the Year, a unanimous first-team selection. Coming back from the shoulder injury, has had trouble with that elbow, hence the little kid's knee brace that's on it. But now a threat for Oklahoma with Lindsey Elam, the number 8 hitter, coming up. Wisconsin playing in on the corners with Little and Conwent at third and first, respectively.
So remember, Pam, at first base, Conwent does not crash on any kind of short game. So she will sit back. It'll be the responsibility of the pitcher to get out of the circle and take any of the bunts down toward the first base line. That's a lot of ground that the catcher's going to have to cover if Elam puts this ball on the ground.
Elam shortens and takes the strike. Meanwhile, Mendez sachets down to second. Credited with the stolen base. She's now 7-for-11 on the season. 2 runners in scoring position now for Elam. That bunt single by Mendez was only the 3rd hit of the game for Oklahoma.
I mean, props to Haley Hestekin for keeping Oklahoma at just 3 hits sitting in the 4th inning.
And that drop fly ball, putting Knighton on second with 1 away. And that's one thing that you don't want to do when you play Oklahoma, is give them extra outs.
And they have given them 1. That's how the first run got on the board. A little bit of a miscommunication got that run across. It was in a 1st and 3rd situation.
Two-two pitch now. Right back to the pitcher. Knighton was going on contact. She is safe back at third, and now Johnson held on to the ball, and everybody's safe.
So that's the right way to play that as base runners, but because of that stop coming down the line, I don't know that we will see Knighton extend in this game. There's a communication down the line. But it's the perfect play. A ground ball back to the pitcher. You should not be trying to advance from third. You're told to make sure that that ball gets past the pitcher, but they play it safe. I think they could have gone for the throw at second or at first because Knighton was down for the count on that one.
And instead, Johnson, who had been the everyday third baseman, now at catcher because of the injury to Cross. And Shay Knighton staying in the game. Remember the all Madden teams when John Madden would give out his tough guy awards in the NFL? That's Shay Knighton.
But you got to remember, senior year had been the MOP of the World Series in 2017. She does not want to go away from this game and not be the one being in the lineup. And a pinch runner coming out of the dugout looks at Shay. Shay automatically points to the other bases like, I'm not coming. It's one of them. Don't even come over this way.
And the pinch runner comes in for Elam. That is Alexa Schultz running for Elam, the catcher. But yeah, that was funny. Shay's like, not me. And I don't blame Schultz for assuming it was for Shay, the way she was limping around out there. Grace Lyons in the number 9 spot last night.
What did she do? Oh yeah, she just tattooed a little ball out over the left center field wall. I'll tell you what, such a potent freshman for Oklahoma. The future is bright. She had big shoes to fill over there at shortstop, but has done so brilliantly.
One of her 2 hits yesterday. That one is popped into short left field. Tough play, but she does it again. Lauren Foster, who is a terrific shortstop. Jenny Dalton Hill, can you even talk about this?
I tell you what, when it comes to a highlight reel, Foster gives you everything you need in a shortstop. She gives you range, she gives you plus arm power and communication to be able to get this ball, reel it in, stay away from the left fielder, communicate with her to let her know that she's going to grab this one. Great drop step, and Lyons disappointed.
What a play. We saw her make 2 or 3 great ones in the hole at shortstop yesterday. So now 2 away. Sydney Romero sends one into the outfield and almost a collision, but Hedgecock stepped in front of Miklish to make the catch. And Oklahoma leaves them loaded up 1-0. Time to talk to Patty Gasso, the head coach, when we come back. Bottom of the 4th, Oklahoma 1-0 over Wisconsin, joined now by Patty Gasso, the head coach for Oklahoma. Some opportunities. You've left 6 runners on base. How do we change that?
Hey, we're getting on base, and that's what's important. So it's just timely hitting. So that's kind of how it rolls, and a pitcher's that's throwing really well. So we've got to just be patient and wait for our opportunity to, find a way to get one through.
With Shay Knighton being the most outstanding player in the Women's College World Series in 2017, we're seeing a little bit different side of Shay Knighton. What's she doing for you as a senior this year?
Absolute leadership and, just trying to lead through example and scrappy and trying to deal with injuries throughout it all. So, she's a big motivation for this team.
And then finally, Coach, Scott Black, the head of your grounds crew, we had over 4 inches of rain. It's amazing we started on time. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you said that. Our staff, our grounds crew, but our support staff, we had everybody out here working to keep things on time. So very proud of them and very thankful for their hard work.
Yeah, as are we. Thank you for your time, Coach.
You.
Again, we started on time after Oklahoma-style thunderstorms that dumped over 4 inches of rain here. And Hestican doing well in the circle for Wisconsin, but G. Juarez just keeps on keeping on after 3 perfect innings last night.
That changeup is the pitch that has not really been as consistent for Juarez that I'd like to see as she heads through this postseason. We've seen it in the dirt a little bit, not really able to locate consistently, but a beautiful pitch to start off this at bat.
Taylor Johnson, who had a monstrous 3-run home run in the 7th inning to give Wisconsin a much-needed pad in their lead as they beat Notre Dame. Notre Dame UMBC will be our 2nd game. We see some of the retrievers have come into the stands to watch the game. Johnson strikes out, and that's the 3rd time that a strikeout has had to be completed at first today by the Sooners. It's now 7 Ks for Juarez. And there are the retrievers. That is the mascot for UMBC, Maryland, Baltimore County. Chesapeake Bay Retriever, the state dog of Maryland.
And you like dogs.
Love dogs. Chesapeake Bay Retrievers, second or third on my list of retrievers.
What's your first?
Goldens.
You have one.
Nothing better than a golden retriever. Lauren Foster. Nothing better than Lauren Foster, the golden retriever of shortstops, according to Jenny Dalton Hill, and we've seen that all weekend. Made another spectacular play in short left field to help end the threat in the top of this inning.
Well, the key to a good shortstop is anticipation, and so far she's shown us that she has great range because of that anticipation, and even when she's far away from first base, she's got a plus arm that can get all the way across the diamond.
Does indeed come from a baseball family. Her father, Steve, is currently the pitching coach of the Colorado Rockies. That's got to be tough, because that thin air up in Colorado can inflate some ERAs, so I would think you have to do some soothing along with the technical work with the pitchers.
Well, head coach Yvette Healy said that Lauren Foster calls her dad after every game, and they break down what happened and what went on. And I tell you what, to have a dad that's able to break down your play and communicate with you in a way to make you better every day, that's an asset that not many young athletes have.
2-2 pitch now from Juarez. Skips in. And the appeal down, no swing, according to Danny Bowman. Now at first.
I don't know about this. I think that she really did break the plane of the plate. And with the four-person umpire crew that look down the line, stays true all game long, but he doesn't ring her up.
Foster did strike out swinging her first time up. Just got a piece of that one. Keith Kearney behind the plate, Chelsea Clark at third, Dustin Douglas at second, Danny over at first. With the four-person crews will continue throughout the NCAA tournament. That's a strike. Number 8 for Juarez. So the Wisconsin defense the last couple of games have come up with some gems.
Able to come away with a play in the 5-6 hole over the glove of the third baseman. She doesn't give up on it, comes all the way across the dish. Then the outfield play, Miklish with the gun home. The tag by Johnson saves the lead. Wisconsin was doing such a great job of defense. That's what kept them in it.
They were out-hit yesterday 11-4 by Notre Dame and still won it by the final of 4-2. That is Lauren Foster in the dugout. And she's only a sophomore, Jenny. You get 2 more years.
Well, let's hope I get to see her in the postseason. But more than that, defense does win ball games, but timely hitting is the thing that has to happen in order for that defense to become victorious. So you keep yourself in a ball game by playing great defense, but right now they've got to find a way to hit off G. Juarez.
Stephanie Lombardo down 0-2. She has struck out twice against Juarez, who has just struck out the side. She still has not given up a hit this weekend.
G with the strikeout, making it look easy. She takes it away with the side.
Stuff going on there. And we have another change in the outfield as the third left fielder we have seen for Wisconsin. It's Tyra Turner. Gabby Shirley started there. Then Melanie Cross came in. Cross dropped a fly ball in the last inning. And now Turner is in left. Pam Ward and Jenny Dalton Hill joining you from Norman, Oklahoma. First of 3 games. This is a winner's bracket game between Wisconsin and the number 1 overall seed, the Oklahoma Sooners. A view with a big-time pop-up sends Welsh into the outfield for the first out. Chris Kohlmeyer with that cool Retrievers ball cap on as the first-year head coach at UMBC. Really a terrific story, a team that had gone through 3 head coaches now in 4 years. They won the America East Championship to get the automatic bid after they were picked to finish dead last. They will play Notre Dame in our game, 1/2 hour, about 30 minutes after this one is completed. And for those of you joining in, you might be going, what? 1-0, that's it? And it's the 5th inning. This is an Oklahoma team that leads the country in scoring, over 8 runs per game. But so far, Jenny, a terrific job by Hestekin for Wisconsin.
And Patty Gasso tipped her cap. She said she's throwing a great game, spinning the ball, getting it through the zone, and our hitters have not made an adjustment.
Clifton has been on base twice, extending her on-base streak to 33 straight games. But Oklahoma left the bases loaded last inning and had a single runner on and left on in the first 3, so they've been getting on base. And the 1 run that scored was due to an error, so they do not have an earned run today. Just 3 hits against Hestekin.
That's a good pitch on an 0-2 count, trying to keep the timing of Clifton off. She had a big line drive home run in yesterday's game, so a very powerful hitter. She's got 15 home runs on the year and stays in her legs so well, even when that change of speed pitch comes in.
Down 1-2 and stayed on that one. And that might be the most solidly hit ball today for any of the Sooners. 1-out single for Clifton.
Well, that pitch was left over the heart of the plate. That's what Hestekin has not done today. Another off-speed pitch. Clifton stays in her legs. Love the power in that bottom half of her swing. But because she stays in her legs, she can alter and make the adjustment on that off-speed. Stay right through it, drive it right back up the middle.
Not a bad regional so far. 3 for 5 with that 2-run shot yesterday. And Jocelyn Allo 0 for 2. Tries to move her along. 403 average. The power numbers down for Allo. In her first 36 games, Jocelyn only hit 7 home runs. In her last dozen, she has matched that with 7 and has hit 559.
When it comes to the change in Allo, it happened after Patty Gasso recognized that her sophomore power hitter was absolutely pressing, trying to match last year's numbers. They got to the Kansas series, and Allo had an opportunity to stay home from that trip. And because she stayed home, she had an opportunity to reevaluate how this season was going. And ever since then, has been on an absolute tear.
That 12-game hitting streak starting after that series at Kansas, when the Sooners went down to Texas, and she's gotten at least 1 hit in every game. The 7 home runs. She had the 30 home runs to match Lauren Chamberlain's numbers for both her freshman and sophomore years. And when you come in thinking, I want that home run record, that's probably not the best way to approach it.
Well, she was playing unconscious as a freshman. A lot of teams did not know her, could not scout her. But then coming into this year, she had a target on her back. They knew the kind of power that she would bring to the plate. And so she became the hitter of note that most of these teams were focusing on to try to keep her off the bases.
And she strikes out looking, and Taylor Johnson behind the plate gets up shaking her fist and says, Hestekin, way to go.
But this is a huge strikeout for Hestekin. She has absolutely painted corners. A beautiful spot. Allo not anticipating it. Freezes her. And another strikeout for Hestekin.
Number 21, Grace Green.
Just the 3rd strikeout, but you get Allo looking. Now 2 away for Grace Green, who has the other 2 strikeouts in this game. Oklahoma with just 4 hits this afternoon. They had a season-low 3 hits against Arizona in February, a game that they won 2-1.
Arizona had a scare last night against Harvard, behind in most of that game, but then erupted in the 6th and 7th inning to come away with the win. But Harvard looked so good at the beginning of that matchup.
Taking off, Clifton gets into first. Good job by Welsh to back up the throw.
When you throw down to a base, you need to know which defender is covering the steal. And if it's the shortstop, you've got to make sure you miss on that side of the bag. But a great backup by Welsh keeps this ball in front. And there will be no additional advancements, but another stolen base comes away for Clifton.
Now 6 for 6 on the year in stolen bases and scoring position, but Green down 1-2. Takes it, and Hestican wanted the call, but does not get it.
And she's been living on this outside corner for these last couple at bats. She's been able to nip that corner, keep it just at the knees. Oklahoma not wanting to swing at that. The adjustment that needs to be made is take that pitch the other way. There's a lot of green space over there on the right side of the field. Take advantage of a first baseman with not a lot of movement.
Women's College World Series returns to Oklahoma City Thursday, May 30th at noon Eastern on ESPN. Go to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships, for more information. Oklahoma trying to get back for the 4th straight year. Highlights in gold are the championships won by the Sooners, 4 in all. Full count with 2 outs. Clifton takes off from second, and that is another Collins glove. And that sends Clifton home with run number 2.
Great adjustment by the freshman, recognizing that the outside pitch is where Hestican was really trying to get these Oklahoma hitters. The adjustment needed to be made. Just let that ball travel, drive it the other way with a runner on second base. Green with the RBI.
And that is exactly what you called for, to go with the outside pitch to the right side. As you mentioned, Conwent, not the most mobile of first basemen, and that's exactly where it was. But set up, you send Clifton, steals second, gets in position, and then that huge 2-out hit by Green, who had struck out in her previous 2 at-bats against Hestican. And that's the first hit of the day for either team with 2 outs. Both teams had been 0 for 4, and Wisconsin going to go to the pen and get Caitlin Menz, who started the game yesterday and won against Notre Dame.
I don't know if I'm ready for Hestican to leave this game. This to me feels like a premature switch. Hestican has been so good. The communication, though, between the dugout in Oklahoma dugout has been, hey, the outside pitch this inning, make sure you attack it. JT Gasso in the dugout communicating with his hitters as well, but we will see a change in the circle.
So Hestican, who pitched really well, giving up 2 runs on 5 hits, and one of the runs she gave up was unearned due to an error. So with the pitching change, we will take a break as well in Norman. Welcome back to the NCAA Softball Regionals presented by Capital One. Oklahoma leading Wisconsin 2-0 in the 5th inning in this winner's bracket game, day 2 of the Norman Regional. And a pitching change as Haley Hestican pitched well, but she has been relieved by Caitlin Menz.
We saw Menz yesterday in game 1. Menz just has a fastball and a changeup, so she will look to just spot up these pitches. She steps in with 2 outs, so just needing to roll a ground ball and get that changeup to offset the hitter's timing and get herself out of this inning.
Caitlin Menz got the win, even though she gave up 11 hits against Notre Dame yesterday through 107 pitches in the 4-2 Wisconsin win. But boy, kudos to Hestican. A terrific job against the nation's best hitting team.
So dominant, very impressive. Patty Gasso giving her kudos during that interview in the game.
Shay Knighton at the plate, and they get Green over at first, who stumbled and could not get back to first in time, and that ends the inning.
Heads-up play behind the dish. That's what gets him out of this inning. Great job by Johnson to recognize an opportunity.
Welcome back. A big season for Oklahoma as they swept all the major awards. Sidney Romero, the Player of the Year in the Big 12. G. Juarez, the Arizona State transfer, got Pitcher of the Year. Kaylee Clifton, the Defensive Player of the Year, over at second. Grace Green, the Freshman of the Year, hitting over 400. And Patty Gasso has, for the 8th straight year, 12-time overall, taken home the Big 12 Coach of the Year award.
If that's not a complete team, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
To be able to come away with the sweeps for all of those categories.
Back-to-back 18-0 seasons in the Big 12 Conference. The first team to ever have consecutive unbeaten conference records. Again, just 2 losses this entire season. They were 3 months ago to Florida State and UCLA, respectively. Sidney Romero. Tell you what, that defense hasn't had a lot of chances today, have they?
No, but they lead the country in fielding percentage. For them to be able to come away with tight defense behind the lowest ERA, it's not a lot of opportunities for offenses to score runs against this group.
Don't miss a minute of action of the NCAA Softball Regionals. The best live action on Bases Loaded on the ESPN app. See every game, every big moment on the road to the Women's College World Series. Only on the ESPN networks. A lot of action today. We'll have half the teams going home. All the regional finals scheduled for tomorrow. And the Super Regionals get underway next weekend. Caroline Hedgecock sends it towards the shortstop Lions, who grabs it, and we'll grab an update now from Molly. Thanks a lot, Molly. Boy, that was surprising for Texas to lose yesterday. Mike White coming over from Oregon. Some players following him to Austin. That is a foul ball on the bunt attempt by Kelly Welsh.
A lot of transfers this past year. Not only the opening of the portal that allowed a lot of players to enter and change, but the coaching changes opened that door for transfers as well. And so a lot of players leaving Oregon, going lots of different places, but most of them following Coach White to Texas.
And it affected the Oklahoma program. Melissa Lombardi, the longtime pitching coach, went west to replace Mike White as the head coach at Oregon. And that meant Jennifer Rocha, the former pitching coach at Florida, where she was on a staff that won 2 national championships, has come back home, where she graduated from Oklahoma to be the pitching coach for this Sooner team. Ripple effects.
An all-star lineup of coaches here at Oklahoma, from paid to volunteer.
Welsh down 1-2, goes upstairs and just gets it. And talked about the transfer portal and G. Juarez in the circle. 2 spectacular years at Arizona State. Last year she was a first-team All-American. She was 26-6. And she hasn't given up a hit yet. Part of a perfect game last night, a combined perfect game. Let's take a look at this pitch.
It's that curveball that starts off the plate and then comes back to nip the back of the dish. It's a tough pitch because you want to lay off. It seems too far outside, and last minute just bites back in.
Got her. Juarez into double digits with strikeouts, the 11th time she's done it this year.
We've seen this before. That changeup grabs another strikeout. G. Juarez, so good.
G. Juarez has been untouchable so far in this regional.
10 strikeouts in this one. Absolutely throwing everything. She's got the curve, the change, and the rise that has been able to get the swing, the miss, and the freeze. G. Juarez, 65 pitches in this one, 45 of them being strikes. Right now, the 11th game with 10-plus strikeouts for G. Juarez.
And were it not for a hit batter back in the second inning, she would be sitting on a perfect game. And Oklahoma now has gone over 28 innings in regional play without allowing a run. Last year in the regional, they outscored their opponents 24-0 en route to getting to the Super Regional, and so far they have not even given up a hit. Shea Knighton leads things off as the sun pushes through the clouds here in Norman. First of 3 games underway. Very fortunate with the weather, very fortunate with the terrific grounds crew that got this field ready to start on time after 4 inches of rain fell. And really, the rain stopped, what, about an hour or so before the game was scheduled to start, so that makes it even better.
Well, it gave the grounds crew time to come out, prep the field, get it ready to go. There's a lot of diamond dry out in the warning track, but they were able to keep this playing surface pristine.
Caitlin Menz in relief of Haley Hestigan delivers the pitch. Hestigan, 4 2/3 inning, 5 hits, 2 runs, only 1 of them earned. Did throw 93 pitches before giving way to Menz. Menz, who started last night. Gets Knighton swinging. Let's head to Molly McGrath for another update in the studio.
At the plate now for the Sooners, center fielder Nicole Mendez.
Well, that's the thing about postseason, some unlikely heroes sometimes. And boy, Molly's right. You take a look at that region, Minnesota, the number 7 overall seed, North Dakota State, Drake with Nicole Newman, the great pitcher, and Georgia rounding that out. That's some exciting softball up in the Twin Cities.
Well, you pair the long ball with the strikeouts, and right now, Nicole Newman, the pitcher with the most strikeouts in the country. We've got the second most coming up in our next matchup.
Courtney Coppersmith for UMBC. Took it on the chin yesterday, losing 12-0 in the 5-inning perfect game for Oklahoma. They will play Notre Dame 30 minutes after this game concludes in the loser's bracket. The loser goes home. The winner will play in our nightcap against the loser of this game. Nicole Mendez hit one of 3 2-run homers for Oklahoma off Coppersmith last night. A totally different story against this Wisconsin pitching staff this afternoon. Notre Dame also is here. They're getting ready. Took a look at the retrievers earlier, and the blonde there with the, that's Tidd, right? That's the freshman pitcher.
Peyton Tidd down in your bottom right, just stepping out of the camera, but they recognized that they were on TV.
Yeah. And it's interesting because when you see Tidd in the circle, she's so serious. But Deanna Gump, their head coach, said that she's a goofball when she's not pitching, and she just showed us being a little bit goofy.
But you see how they can turn the switch, right? Flip the switch. When you cross the white line, game begins. Tidd goes stoic, and Deanna Gump coaches her much differently than she does most of the other players on the field.
Because she is so intense. 2-2 pitch to Mendez. Back-to-back strikeouts for Menz.
So maybe I need to rescind my words. Yvette Healy, smart, makes the change, has kept Oklahoma from really being able to do anything. A beautiful changeup, gets the swing and a miss. And let it be a testament to those other players watching at home. Just a changeup and a fastball to location. And Menz very effective.
It's interesting sometimes as Lindsey Elam comes up, when you talk to pitching coaches or head coaches, you say, what do they throw? And they'll tell you 5 pitches. They throw everything. But you're saying if you have a good, well, I think the changeup is the most important pitch in softball.
I agree with you.
But you say you can get away with just 2 if you have that in your arsenal?
Well, Menz is showing you that that's what you can do. If you can stop the most potent offense in the country with just 2 pitches, go with it. Take the 2 that you throw, perfect them, learn to nip corners with them. You just don't ever want to make a mistake over the heart of the plate. That's when you get in trouble.
0-2 now to Elam, and she struck out the side. All of them swinging, all of them missing.
Beautiful performance by Mend, able to get it down and in. The changeup and the pitch away. Strikes out the side and gets him back in the dugout.
In Oklahoma City at the Women's College World Series.
The Young Guns of Oklahoma have won the national championship. Shay Knighton knew it was gone the second it left her bat. And the diving catch by Warren for the double play.
Women's College World Series coming your way Thursday, May 30th, and 2 of the last 3 years, Oklahoma has gone home with the championship. Florida State with that thrilling win last year coming out of the loser's bracket, only the 3rd team ever to come out of the loser's bracket and win it all. And looking forward to another great championship. Oklahoma, the #1 overall seed. And G. Juarez continues to be spectacular, has not given up a hit. The day after a combined perfect game, a 5-inning perfect game win over UMBC with Mariah Lopez and Shannon Sale.
Now, G. Juarez was in Oklahoma City last year, but she was not there with Oklahoma across her chest. She was there playing for ASU, so a different environment for her to step into this postseason this year, but has great support with pitching staff with Lopez and Sale behind her.
Strikeout number 11. Tonight after Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals at SportsCenter with Scott Van Pelt. Post-game reactions from Portland. So Doris Burke and others talk about their biggest takeaways. And then Andy North talks about an historic run at the PGA Championship. SportsCenter with SVP after Warriors Trailblazers on ESPN and the ESPN app. Number 9 hitter Allie Nicholas, just her second at bat. She popped up to second earlier in the game. Oklahoma 2 runs on 5 hits and no errors. Wisconsin still looking for their first hit, a couple of errors, one of which led to the first Oklahoma run. Wisconsin with 4 errors now in their last 3 games, one of them costing them today. Yvette Healy's team has gone to the tournament an unprecedented 3rd straight year. Rio count, very rare for Juarez, who has gotten ahead of everybody pretty much in this game.
Nicholas, one of only 2 players on in this lineup for Wisconsin that does not have a strikeout today. So able to put the ball in play in the 9 spot for Wisconsin.
The other one is Hedgecock, who was hit by a pitch. That's the only blemish, the only base runner that Wisconsin has had, and that's the only thing keeping Juarez away from a perfect game so far. Count from 3-0 to full. And she walked her, just the second base runner for Wisconsin this afternoon. And that leads to the top of the order, and Kayla Conwent. Conwent, the Big Ten Player of the Year, still looking for hit number 1 in the regional.
Coach Healy says about her, she loosens the mood in our dugout, but right now she's got to make sure she lowers that heart rate, does not try to press and do too much in this at-bat.
Conwent coming into this weekend with the 2nd best batting average in the nation. But she is 0 for 6 so far in the regional. Struck out swinging both times against Juarez in this game. And now Lindsey Elam goes out to have a chat with her ace. Misses again. Brooke Vestal, the freshman righty, back up and warming for the Sooners. Conwent and the base runner Miklish getting a quick chat with their head coach Yvette Healy.
And look at the smile.
Yeah, of course.
So positive, totally energetic, building them up. I mean, that's what we saw at practice the other day. Never a negative word, always trying to be positive with her players. And in this moment, perhaps the biggest moment of the game, the biggest hitter for Wisconsin, 15 home runs, leads the team. Kayla Conwent in one swing can tie this game up.
Conwent set a new Wisconsin single season record by hitting 15 home runs this year. Wind is blowing out towards right field. And with all of the domination in the circle by Juarez, yep, just one swing of the bat can tie it up. Sends one right down the middle. That was a mighty swing.
And that's the swing that she should put on the first pitch of the at-bat. It's the change of speed that gets her and makes her vulnerable. Now sitting 0-2, she's going to have to settle into her legs, shorten up that swing a little bit, and just put this ball in play.
Conwent strikes out for the third time against Juarez.
Talk about a dominant pitcher. This is not a hittable pitch, but Conwent falls prey to it. Down in the zone, recognizing first base is full. There's nowhere to go.
Stepping to the plate now for the Badgers, catcher Taylor Johnson.
G. Juarez now has gone 26 innings without giving up a run. 26 straight. Taylor Johnson stepping in. The last time G. Juarez gave up a run was on April 26 against Iowa State in the 7th inning. Taylor Johnson, 3-run homer yesterday to help cement the win against Notre Dame. She's down 0-2 with the runner over at first. Got it. Strikes out the side again. 13 Ks for G. Let's go to Molly McGrath with another studio update.
The NCAA Softball Regionals is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Welcome back to Norman, Oklahoma, where the #1 overall seed, being fueled by G. Juarez's 13 strikeouts, are no-hitting Wisconsin and have a slim 2-0 lead as we head to the top of the 7th inning. And there's winner's bracket game. Pam Ward and Jenny Dalton-Hill joining you in our first of 3 games from Norman. Bottom of the order facing Caitlin Menz, starting with Grace Lyons. Oklahoma just 5 hits, 2 runs, just 1 of them earned in this game. Notre Dame UMBC follows in an elimination game. Caitlin Menz was as good as it gets. She struck out the side in her first full inning after relieving starter Haley Hestican. 14 pitches, 9 of them strikes. Struck out Knighton, Mendez, and Elam in order.
And got them all swinging. It's the swing and the miss that to me is very impressive, because these hitters for Oklahoma are so cued in on the strike zone. And with men's only throwing a fastball and a changeup, it's showing that not only is she hitting spots, but she's mixing speeds effectively.
And she's ahead 0-2. Green just got a bat on it. Welsh has to charge, and too much speed from Lyons.
Not giving up at the bottom of the lineup. It's that outside pitch that she had to just reach and touch. Speed down the line makes her safe. As a second baseman, you're going to have to charge this ball a little bit harder. They were playing her deep, and that's the difference in this one.
Just the 6th hit of the game for Oklahoma, and that one did not even leave the infield. And it leads to the top of the order, and Sydney Romero, Big 12 Player of the Year. Popped up the bunt attempt. It goes foul. Sydney scored the first run of the game back in the first inning. Singled to lead off and eventually scored on a throwing error by the catcher.
And that drag looks to be laid down the first base line because over at first base, Kayla Conwent does not charge on the short game. It's up to the pitcher to get all the way over to the first base line to cover that. So a very vulnerable spot, Sydney Romero picking that up.
Swinging away, and that's called a foul ball by the home plate umpire, Keith Kearney.
Patty Gasso cannot believe it. She was asking all of her runners to continue and advance and get to the bags. The fans are confused. It's a tough play down the line, kicks up a lot of chalk. So what's your call? Ball down the line, it's a tough angle to see, but Patty Gasso says that ball hit the bag as it crossed. So recognize that back there, look at the chalk fly up. That chalk should tell you that that is a fair ball. That's what Patty Gasso was going on, but it's the home plate umpire's call. There is no instant replay. There's a 4-person umpire crew. So that'll go off of his call behind home plate. So it's where does the ball cross the bag? Does the ball get to the outside of the bag before it crosses its path? But there is chalk behind the bag coming up, which would tell you that that is a fair ball. Patty Gasso not wanting to let this one go. But there's really nobody else to argue with.
The flying chalk should be, it's like a smoking gun. The flying chalk.
It's the flying chalk, right?
That tells us that was a fair ball. So Coach Gasso does have a legitimate gripe. But as you said, with no instant replay.
So the call belongs to the home plate umpire, but check out the positioning of the third base umpire down the line. Able to see it. But the problem is she's trying to get out of the way at the same time. So her eyes are moving. But that is not her call.
That's Chelsea Clark at third, but the home plate ump Keith Kearney made the call. So Lyons retreats all the way back to first. And Sydney Romero is still down 0-2, and Coach Gasso still chirping about it. Kelsey Arnold over at first base coaching box had to get out of the way in the hurry.
She's still got mad skills. I'm not worried about her over there.
A little bit quick. Had been the starting shortstop the last 4 years for the Sooners. Now an undergraduate assistant. Romero goes the opposite way. Green stops at second. Back-to-back singles for the Sooners to lead off the 7th.
Well, and of course, if Romero's able to turn on it, you're going to try to find a weakness in her armor, but she really doesn't have one. This ball on the outer half, she just sticks her bat out there, able to punch it in that 3-4 hole. Sydney Romero, one of the most complete players in the game.
One of the 10 finalists for National Player of the Year. Fale Aviu trying to get another run across for the Sooners. Many of the fans standing here at Marita Hines Field, another sold-out session. Caught by Conway, tags the bag to double off Romero.
You always want to have aggressive base runners, but sometimes what happens, that aggression can get you a little too far off the bag on a sharply hit ball. Conwent comes away with a great catch. And with Romero off a little too far, the dive gets the second out, a double play for Wisconsin.
Terrific play by Conwent, the Big Ten Player of the Year. So now 2 away, with Lions on second for Kaylee Clifton. Oklahoma just 1 for 6 today with 2 outs. And that one hit helped lead to a run. RBI single by Grace Green that got their second run home. 2 runs now on 7 hits for the Sooners. They win this game, they will play in the regional final here tomorrow afternoon. Oklahoma this year plowing through the competition, 40 straight wins as we take a look at our Capital One bracket. UMBC and Notre Dame in an elimination game 30 minutes after this one is over, and then one more game to go after that. And the regional final starts tomorrow at 2 Eastern time. That's 1 o'clock Oklahoma time. And Wisconsin time. It's Central time, Jen.
Oh, got it.
Okay. Clifton takes a strike.
That's a good hold. You don't want to try to hit a changeup when you sit ahead in the count.
That is pounded. Kaylee Clifton hits her second home run of the regional. Oklahoma doubles its lead.
Kaylee Clifton, one of the most consistent players for Oklahoma. Started last year a little bit down. This year recognizing an opportunity in her senior year to really represent, get them back to Oklahoma City and try to win another national championship.
Her 3rd hit of the day, her second 2-run home run in 2 games. 16th of the year, so she's only 1 behind Sydney Romero for the team lead.
The amount of power within these top 4 hitters for Oklahoma, it's a murderer's row to try to come against each of them. And Men's trying to do so, could not get away from Clifton.
Huge 2-out hit by the senior. Jocelyn Allo, her 12-game hitting streak on the line. She's 0 for 3 this afternoon, dropping to a disappointing 400 batting average.
So disrespectful.
Wow.
It's amazing.
So Oklahoma finally puts up a crooked number after single runs in the 1st and 5th innings. Their 4th homer of the weekend, all 4 of them 2-run shots. Allo just fouled.
Allo put a ton of pressure on herself to try to duplicate her numbers of a year ago. 30 home runs in her freshman campaign. In the beginning of the year, got off to a slow start. Just 7 home runs in her first 36 games. Patty Gasso gave her an opportunity to sit back, reevaluate, and ever since that moment, She has come on strong.
Down 1-2 to men's. Struck her out. So a low 0 for 4 today, but Kaylee Clifton is having herself a weekend.
And she does not hit the kind of bomb that you expect. It's a line drive that gets out of here in a hurry. A great home run for Oklahoma.
Welcome back, Oklahoma, with a 4-0 lead as we head to the bottom of the 7th in this winner's bracket game in Norman. And time to take a look at the player of the game presented by Capital One. And I would say if you're pitching a no-hitter, chances are you're going to be our player of the game, and that is exactly what G. Juarez is.
Just a hit by pitch and walk away from a perfect game. G. Juarez, 13 strikeouts in this one. So impressive. Not giving up a hit. Her 3rd no-hitter of the year.
She has 2 perfect games by herself. They were 5-inning perfect games, both of them. Part of a combined perfect game last night, along with Mariah Lopez and Shannon Sale. And here she is working on a 7-inning no-hitter. She has a personal scoreless streak of 26 2/3 innings, extending back to the Iowa State series in late April. Oklahoma still has not given up a run in a regional game in 2 years. Not since 2017 in extra innings against Tulsa. I would say that's #1 overall seed strength in numbers. Meanwhile, Wisconsin's last chance. If they lose this game, they will play in our 3rd game against the winner of our upcoming game between Notre Dame and UMBC. Remember, it's double elimination all the way through the NCAA softball tournament. Lauren Foster, the shortstop, struck out twice against Juarez, once looking and once swinging. Juarez with 13 Ks on the day. Make it 14.
Backdoor curveball, so hard to really identify. As a right-handed hitter, you see that ball outside the zone, and late break brings it right over that corner. So hard to get the bat off the shoulder on that one.
14 strikeouts ties a season high for Juarez. She also had 14 against BYU in February, and that was in 6 innings.
The plate for the Badgers, number 18, Stephanie Lombardo.
Stephanie Lombardo was struck out swinging twice against her. Juarez's career high in strikeouts is 17. But that was back when she was with Arizona State, where she played her first 2 seasons of college ball.
When we talked to Yvette Healy about Stephanie Lombardo, she said her dad comes in and pitches batting practice to her every Monday. So this is not just Stephanie Lombardo stepping in as herself. She's got a lot of people behind her that continue to support her throughout her collegiate career.
Down 0-2. And a new season high, 15 strikeouts for Juarez. Let's go to Molly McGrath.
Now batting number 12, Melanie Cross.
Oh my goodness, that is some, that's a lot of softball.
Well, you're playing for your life at this time of the year. Seniors on their squads wanting to extend it. They put in so many hours of work trying to extend their seasons. Don't want to go home.
Melanie Cross quickly down 0-2. 1 strike away the Sooners from advancing to the regional final tomorrow. Juarez 1 strike away from her third no-hitter. She combined on a perfect game yesterday with 2 other pitchers. Oklahoma had a no-hitter in the 2013 NCAA tournament, another one in 2015. They already have one this year with that combined perfect game yesterday, and Juarez gets a big smile out of that visit from Elam. She struck out the side in the 6th. Just got a piece of that to stay alive. Just about everybody in the stands on their feet. With her 16th strikeout, completes the no-hitter. Oklahoma wins it 4-0. Third no-hitter for Juarez, 4th of her brilliant career.
Oklahoma has now not given up a run in 2 years in the regional. Who's going to score on them? Who's it going to be? Will it come in the next game? You'll have to stick around to find out.
Ends the game with 7 straight strikeouts. Oklahoma wins it 4-0. Coming up next, Sports Center for Jenny Dalton Hill and our entire crew. I'm Pam Ward saying so long from Norman, where Oklahoma no-hits Wisconsin.